Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on location in Gobles, Michigan. Happy Echo Ranch, Ryan Halgren, Top Knots Ranch. And we're doing this all live this morning, 7 a.m., August 1st, 2019. The reason we're doing this update on the road is because there's a lot to report on, and we do not want you to miss out on the information. Moose straw hits the floor this weekend, multiple all-time low temperature records falling in Saskatchewan, something the mainstream won't be sharing with you. A record-breaking summer cold front had central Canadians searching for an extra blanket Sunday through Monday as Arctic air rode anomalously far south on the back of historically wavy jet stream. Grand solar minimum jet stream. We call that the meridional flow as the jet stream breaks down, bringing that Arctic air far south and that heat from the tropics far north. In fact, the mercury plunged more than 12 C below average Sunday, setting new records across central Canada in books often dating back to the late 1800s and early 1900s. Those are some centennial records currently being broken. Not only that, it was literally 37 degrees in Minnesota this week. You betcha. WCCO reports that parts of Minnesota experienced fall-like temperatures in the middle of summer. Salt Lake City feeling the heat. Minnesota's not. International Falls set a new daily low temperature record of 37 degrees, breaking that record back into the 1890s. Holy! That's a few days and a few years, if you do the math. The record-long Mississippi River flood also coming to an end, finally ending as we enter August, as we predicted months ago, almost 4 months ago, predicted this flood will last into August, and it has. And it's over, Johnny. Now the waters have to recede and the cleanup begins. Prayers go to all the people flooded and affected. Mammoth Mountain finally closing, ending its 261-day season. That is epic. One of the longest seasons ever recorded at Mammoth. Reno, Nevada, Mammoth Mountain near record 261-day season is coming to an end. And the snow will start falling in 8 weeks. Maybe sooner. Locally heavy rain expected across the Central Plains into the mid to lower Mississippi Valley. Right now, locally heavy rain is expected the next few days across the Central Plains into the mid to lower Mississippi Valley, from possible organized showers and thunderstorms near a stalled front in the region. So you're looking for heavy rains, flash flooding, northeast Kansas, northwest Missouri. Heads up. It's going to be raining. Some heat here through central Oklahoma, so watch out. We also have some rain threats in the region. If I leave Gobles, Michigan, which is right here, we'll be driving right through that baby. Precipitation amounts of 1 to 5 inches is possible through Sunday from southeast Nebraska to portions of Arkansas. So get your galoshes on, kids. Raging torrents as horrific flooding hits Yorkshire. The Met Office says the UK's 10 hottest years were just this decade. In records stretching back to the 19th century, they've all occurred since 2002. Y2K much? A deluge of rain and hail has caused chaos in parts of the North Yorkshire, flooding properties and leaving people stranded in their cars. It comes as the Met Office reveals the 10 hottest tweaked years ever in history, bringing the heat and the flooding and the destruction to a UK near you. This family in this house had to take refuge upstairs because their front wall fell down, and it was quite scary. Here, no one can leave, but they now have a glorious waterfall and raging torrent, and they may pick up whitewater kayaking, who knows? A bridge collapsed in Gritton, North Yorkshire, as emergency services were inundated with calls for kayakers who wanted to get into the new hole. Australian snow in a changing climate. Well, what this is going to show us is nothing. In fact, the fearmongers over at The Bomb want you to believe that this blue line represents you burning up in the end of all snow. But if you begin the graph here in 2015, there is a record increase in snowfall straight up through this year. An increase of over 25%, maybe 50% from 2015. That is a huge trend upwards and not a trend downwards. Neither is the trend of loss of skiers, where ski resorts had record sales across the globe in the northern hemisphere this winter. Imagine how that works. Seismic update, no quakes of note, and as this coronal hole turns Earth-facing and passes us, over the last 36 hours, we've coupled with this hole, barely reached geomagnetic instability, KP3 only, and very moderate activity coming from this hole. We have a huge northern hole here and this transequatorial hole. So far, no effect. We had a moderate seismic uptick here yesterday with a blot echo 6.6 kicking off in Vanuatu. This may not be over. We could have a larger effect in the next 24 hours in this region, all the way down to New Zealand and all the way over to Indonesia. So heads up in that area for the next 24 hours on seismic alert as this coronal hole still faces Earth. Arctic ice is crashing, and that's bad news for everybody. It's finally happening, folks. The expectations of the end of Arctic ice is happening because they put it in this article, which is a total sharticle. It's going to fearmonger about Greenland and other things, and we were going to put them in their place right now with some facts. Here's the current July 30th Arctic sea ice volume, and you can see it's in the multi-decadal average during the melt season. In fact, it's pretty high volume of ice all the way across the Arctic and completely within the normal region. And in the next 4 weeks, we will start building ice again once we hit the flexure point in mid-August. So we're going to be waiting to see where the flexure is. Last year, the flexure point wasn't until the second week of September when the ice began growing. So we'll be seeing what happens this year. But we're well within the normal range of ice, and there is nothing to fear up in the Arctic. CNN would have you believe Greenland is melting in a heat wave that's everyone's problem and we're all going to burn. In fact, we're going to have to dog sled across water. But they don't describe to you that mass gain and mass loss is a normal part of the breathing of the Greenland ice sheet. And sometimes you have huge amounts of gain followed by loss. It's a very spiky graph, up and down. And the melt season is the first day of June through the first day of September. And the media did not report that through all of June, there was record ice building during melt, right here. There was actually mass gain during the melt season, which almost never happens. Did the media report on that? No. 2 weeks later, they reported on this downward spike that Greenland was melting and we're all going to die. And then it quickly recovered back up here, almost to mass gain at the end of July. But the next day, that was warm and it dropped down and we're all burning up again. So keep your eye over here on the Greenland data. Anytime a spike comes down this far, the recovery will have to be this high. And they will not report on mass gains in August, which are going to happen. I will report on them to prove to you that they're just fearmongers and they don't know how to do science, but they certainly know how to scare you. That's their job. Record amount of thunder and lightning over Iceland these past few days. Increased cosmic rays. Increase lightning. Increased cosmic rays. Increased cloud nucleation. Increased cosmic rays. Increased flooding. Record amount of thunder and lightning over Iceland the past few days. The facts are in. FERC and NERC releasing reports on extreme cold weather events. The report stresses the need for preparedness because extreme cold weather events are increasing and they're taxing the grid. Wow. I wonder if I heard that somewhere before. Doctors have no idea why young Canadians are getting ass cancer at higher rates. I can't believe they actually said ass cancer. But it's probably the food they put in their mouth because it eventually comes out of their ass. And that's a boom. Hey, did you go outside last night and not see the moon? Me too.
An eerie and rare phenomenon will grace the North American skies tonight, the rare all-black supermoon. It is a second new moon in a single month, something that happens only about every 32 months because of the lack of sync between the 29-day lunar cycle and the months of our calendar. The last black moon visible in North America happened in 2016. The black moon will happen tonight, Wednesday, July 31st at 11:12 p.m. Eastern Time, and though you can't see the new moon without special equipment, you can still enjoy its effects. The complete lack of moonlight makes it easier to see stars and constellations. The meteor showers that are plentiful in July, including the Perseids and Delta Aquarids, and the Milky Way, which is also easier to see this month. Want to check out the stars against this black moon backdrop? As always with stargazing, it's best to get as far away from light sources as you can and recline back in a lawn chair or blanket to take in as much of the sky as possible. Your eyes should adjust to the dark in about 20 or 30 minutes when you'll hopefully start seeing stars and meteors, made even more visible thanks to the eerie black moon.
Not only should you get out of cities and get your lawn chair and look up because of the black moon, but you should also get out of cities and look up for mental health and security. Yes, we're talking about peace of mind. Get out of Dodge. Baltimore murder rate worse than Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Driving asylum surge. It's not George Soros. It's shitty conditions. And the unfortunate thing is people trying to escape Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala are trying to enter a country with a higher murder rate than their own countries. Yes, it's true. We are no longer a haven for safety. We're a haven for the most incarcerated humans that are not dangerous, and the most murders higher than third world countries. It's true. Baltimore is a hellhole, and you should get out now. Explosion, fire injured 37 at Houston area ExxonMobil refinery. This is almost a half a dozen refineries exploding in less than a half a dozen weeks. Something is afoot here. The infrastructure is failing, and if you live near a refinery, you're about to breathe some toxic vapors that the mainstream is going to say, oh, they're fine. We tested the air and nothing is bad and you're going to be okay, except when you die in 18 years from cancer. Now, their first priority remains the safety of people, including their employees, contractors, and the community, ExxonMobil says. But as a precaution, their industrial hygiene staff is conducting air quality monitoring at the site and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look at how gorgeous that is. Look at how nice they've remediated the landscape. Look at the trees in between the fire here. It's amazing the amount of carbon sequestration they're doing. They're doing good work over there. And that's a boom. Are you scared of GMO foods? Well, you shouldn't be, because Scientific America says you shouldn't. Now, there's nothing scientific about Scientific American. It's owned by multinational corporations that make this garbage, this poison you eat. So, of course, they're going to print a fluff piece to allow the sheep to continue to eat the processed food that contains the pesticides that they're actually making in their own stomachs. People wonder why celiac disease and gluten intolerance is on the rise. Well, that's because they're not scared of GMO foods. And they're not scared of their doctor. Astronomers have discovered a super Earth just 31 light years away. But is it habitable or even glacial? Can we make up any more fairy tales? Why don't we study our own fucking planet? Why does all the money go off to these fairy tales? Planet named GJ357 Magnum is 6 times larger than Earth, orbits a dwarf sun, much smaller than our own. It is more awesome than the Earth. We don't even care about our own planet, so let's go to this one. Awesome. Let's talk about some amazing knowledge that has been withheld from us, ripped away. Thousands of years ago, Mesoamericans were making giant sculptures, these giant heads from the hunter-gatherers that were carved with small twigs, were purported to be for fertility and other nonsense, but new magnetic scans performed on the sculptures from Monte Alto, Guatemala, prove otherwise. Now, what the ancients knew were that these rocks were struck by lightning. In certain regions of their forehead, belly buttons, and other important parts of the sculpture, the magnetic field is up to 4 times that of Earth's magnetic field, which means that the ancients had a way of determining if lightning had struck a rock, if there was a magnetic field present, and then they would carve around the magnetic fields present in these very unique rocks. No one knows why they were doing this. But if you're watching this channel, you might start to understand why the ancients were interested in magnetism and lightning. So please read the paper and make your own conclusions. And if you guys are going to be out in Colorado in a few weeks, check out Crestone in the San Luis Valley. Yeah, become part of the movement. The 30th annual Crestone Energy Fair is taking place from August 16th to 18th, 2019 in the town of Crestone, in the town park and Little Pearl Park. There's an excellent weekend of speakers and presenters, and they're making up the program right now, so I'll share it with you as soon as I get that sent to me. But preliminarily, on Friday, there's an opening ceremony and a potluck. Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., there will be home tours, educational building on alternative energy workshops, demonstrations, exhibits, vendors, a healing area, music. And then Sunday, more tours of sustainable building practices, alternative energy workshops, healing human energy workshops, demonstrations, exhibits, and vendors, on and on. I think Rex Bear will be there. I'll be there. I think I'll be speaking at least Saturday, maybe Sunday. It'll be a fun day. Come check it out. It's free. So quit your bitching about it costing money. Scrape up the gas and get out to Crestone. And check it out. I'll leave you links below. CrestoneEnergyFair.org. I hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. It's time we work together. Share ideas. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. And when we work together, anything's possible. Look at these guys. They might have just met. And they're helping each other grow. Self-reliance, self-resilience starts with community. If the community you're living in is not helping you, get out or find a new community. We love each and every one of you. Thanks to our one-time donors, all of our Patreons, our new Patreon. We love you. Be safe.